The
But they
elites.
aren't done trying to squeeze you out, Vandal. There's a real warning in this. You've got to stay in the game. I don't talk about leverage. It's much more important you stay in this game. The move will make you rich.
Exactly.
Don't be shaken out. You'll be offered leverage. It's like being offered a credit card with a low teaser rate. You have to be seriously careful about what you're doing, because there will be volatility. You could actually have this entire pump with a demand destroying event. Don't forget the run up. We got a bit of a precursor on Bitcoin. Remember Bitcoin at 10K, we called the 14K, that was a half run. We said that's done, it's going to come off. You went from 14K, they threw the demand destroying event that was March 2020, which I won't say the name of, and you had a capitulation down to 4K. And most got, imagine how many people got cleaned out. I remember how that was chucking down. I was shocked. I was watching it and I was going, wow. And we were calling for a major upside macro HVF. It bounced back up, it formed, and it broke. But before there's a major shakeout, they don't want you, Vandal, in that bull market. They don't want Vasan in it, and the community watching this, they don't want you in it. They want it solely to be them. They are in the business of stripping you of your wealth to maximize their own. They want all the chips in the casino. They want you with none. The game for you is that to recognize there is actually a war being fought against you building wealth, and the game is to stay in the game. And you, without real good training and very moderate, you should avoid leverage. And you should be staying in the game. The move will make you the money.
So staying in the game is the name of the game. And if we look at XRP's price sitting at 62 cents right now, Bitcoin sitting at 37,300, Ethereum at 2,037, Solana at $60, Cardano at 39 cents, Chainlink at $15. What is about to happen next will shock you. And we have a massive warning in this video, amazing interview from Black Swan Capitalist that we're going to play some clips from. And also we have to get into the Bitcoin price chart, talking about the stock to flow model, comparing to the past, the fear and greed index, the pi cycle top indicator, Bitcoin's rainbow price chart indicator, Bitcoin cycle master, MVRV Z-score, a lot of data to show you guys where we are in this macro market cycle. And then also Ripple exec is saying that XRP and XLM are set to become the Pepsi and Coca-Cola of central banking utility. What does that mean? And what type of macro shakeout event is on the horizon that you need to be ready for? All of that in today's video. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed. Comment 777 if you're feeling bullish. And if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, confirm it by taking your putter, tapping it in, tap the like button, sink the putt. We're doing it for grandma. We're beating the SEC as always, and we're buying her house back with XRP. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So looking at the XRP to the US dollar price chart, we're in this macro symmetrical triangle right here. And if I were to zoom in for you guys on the weekly candles, you can see that the 50 SMA in red crossed below the 20 SMA in blue. And the last time that we saw that happen was back in September of 2020, after March lows towards the end of the year, when we were really starting that bull run. Then we saw XRP rip all the way from 22 to upwards of 78 cents. Lawsuit hit, brought XRP all the way back down to, this upward trending support line that you guys can see, this yellow dashed line right here. And then we saw a rally back up to 76 cents, consolidated sideways for an extended period of time. And then the final run for that bull run that cut XRP short in comparison to its all-time high. So the run that's going to take place for XRP, is going to be a lot bigger than a lot of people think. Now, when we look at the chart right now, when we see the moving averages cross right here, similarly, shortly after that, we saw XRP rally up to 95 cents, crash back down to the 50 moving average, and then we're seeing XRP, rally up to 73 cents, consolidate sideways for an extended period of time, and arguably we could be comparable to right here before the next break for XRP if we don't see it come all the way back down to the 50 or even this upward trending support line. So what would push XRP to the upper echelon of, $1.20, $1.30? Well, it would obviously be the good news with Bitcoin and Bitcoin rallying up to the stock to flow model line. Now, we can look right now in comparison to the past when we go back to, the 2019 rally, and we also look at the days until the halving on this color code right here on the right-hand side of the screen, where you see dark red to purple. we're about to turn into purple territory. So we're getting there. The halving is April, and so we're in November, right? You have December, January, February, March, April, about 5 months until the halving. So when we turn purple, arguably we could be rallying up to the stock to flow line of about 50,000 some odd dollars based on this. Now, looking at the past, what did it look like before? Because we rallied up in 2019 to June of 2019, and then Bitcoin consolidated sideways and saw, some volatility to the downside before COVID. But when we went from blue to purple, we were rallying into the halving and then a sell-off right before the halving for the Black Swan event. And we can't predict Black Swan events, but we can prepare for them. Now, going back to 2016, when we went from blue to purple, you saw Bitcoin right around the stock to flow line of about $440. When we turned purple, we rallied up really fast to $780, then crashed into the halving for Bitcoin. And then when Bitcoin finally halved 6 months later, then we saw the rally. The time before then, going back to 2012, when we went from blue to purple, getting close to halving, we rallied up, and then we saw a sell-off going into Bitcoin's halving and consolidation period before halving, and then, like 6 months later, we rallied out of there. So it shows that the past few times we rally up into the halving, and then a sell-off going into the halving, and then consolidation sideways for an extended period of time of about 6 months. Now, looking at Bitcoin's Fear and Greed Index, another indicator that this rally is not over yet before a macro shakeout event takes place is we're sitting at about 69. Very nice on the Fear and Greed Index, right? When you're at 100, max greed, get ready for a sell-off. As you guys can see, during the peak, we were upwards of 78, 79 before a sell-off. And then when we're in max fear, then we'll see usually that get bought up, right? We're at 19 right here, and we bounced back into greed, 75. Where were we at the Bitcoin's bottom? We were at 21. And so you can look at the Fear and Greed Index, and you can base your macro investing strategy on this alone, and you should do all right. Now, as always, this isn't financial advice. Don't buy or sell anything on our channel. This is all educational purposes only, and I want to show you all of these charts so you can come to your own conclusion, because I don't have to insult your intelligence here. We're all degenerates, and we're all looking to get wealthy, okay? I became a millionaire before 30 by understanding this stuff and then sharing this information with you to help you become a millionaire if you're in your 20s before 30. If you're over 30, hey, and no one in your family yet is a millionaire, let's help you become one. So right now we're at 60. So we're getting there. When I think we start pushing upwards of 70 to 80 on the Fear and Greed Index, roughly around 45, excuse me, to $50,000, then we'd see a correction happen for Bitcoin on the Fear and Greed Index. Now, also looking at the Bitcoin Pi cycle top indicator, you can see Bitcoin's price in black, the price based on the 111 DMA, and the price in green on the 350 DMA times 2 to show, when Bitcoin is overvalued. And so where we are right now in comparison to this, we're drastically below the green line, and the green line is about $52,000. So that would put us in line to the stock to flow line with Bitcoin rallying up before the halving, and then we see a correction happening around $45,000 to $50,000. And when we also look here at the Bitcoin Rainbow price chart indicator, this shows based on fire sale in blue, all the way to red, which is maximum bubble territory. And as you guys can see where we are right now, we are still in fire sale territory, creeping up into the buy territory, and then green is accumulate. So if we were to push upwards of $50,000, we would be between the accumulation territory and the still cheap in green that you can see right here. Then what comes after that is HODL. Actually, no, that'd be accumulate right here in green. And then there's still cheap in light green, leading up to $100,000. So this is showing that Bitcoin, anything beneath $96,000 is still cheap, which is crazy. And then yellow, the HODL, is upwards of $120,000 for Bitcoin. So the next rally for Bitcoin could be actually massive. It could be even higher than $49,000. But what I'm preparing for is, roughly up to $50,000 before I'll be taking profits and waiting until, Bitcoin's halving to see what takes place for a macro market shakeout event. That's my strategy. I like to share it with you guys, and I'll update you guys if my strategy changes. But looking at the Bitcoin cycle master, in black, you can see Bitcoin's price. Green is the cycle lows. Blue is undervalued. Purple is fair market value. Yellow is aggressively valued, and red is overvalued. So when we zoom in to where we are right now, we're between blue and we're between purple. So we're between undervalued and fair market value. So we're beneath Bitcoin's fair market value. Now, the fair market value is obviously different from the real market value of what's on exchanges, because when we look at the fair market value sitting at $43,000, I believe Bitcoin's going to push upwards within this range and see some resistance, which was support, all the way back in January of 2022, leading to March 15th of 2022. Some resistance around, $43,000, $45,000 to $50,000 will be the next stop for Bitcoin. Now, also looking at the MVRV Z-score, not to get into too much complication of what this is, we're just going to show you where we've been in the past and what it's looked like, because all you need to know is the green territory right here is drastically oversold and is great macro entry points, and it's always been the low of the markets. And we talked about this several months ago, explaining this to you guys on how when we were in here, we were most likely going to see a breach out of here, similar to what happened in 2019, and then a correction before Bitcoin's halving. And whether we dip back down into it or not, as you guys can see in 2020 right here, you saw it dip back down for March for the Black Swan event. If there's a Black Swan event, it's possible. We don't know, when or if that will happen, but corrections are inevitable on the way to the top. As every bull run, plays out, the law of diminishing returns kicks in, and usually the rallies aren't as parabolic and the dips aren't as drastic because there's less volatility, because institutions are diving in to be able to support healthy price floors. But at the same time too, they might want to shake a lot of people out one final time so they can get wealthier. But when we look right here on how far we are out, we're just barely above the green territory. Going into red is drastically overbought. And so that's when a correction will be coming. So we'll be watching this. I'll be bringing this up consistently throughout the bull run and showing you guys where we are. But I think we're pushing higher in the short term, and then a correction could be coming. So this is lining up very similar. Now, also looking at the Bitcoin RHODL ratio, very similarly, we can see the green territory is oversold, red territory is overbought. And as you guys can see right here, we're somewhat in the middle. And so, looking back to 2020, at the end of COVID, when we were rallying out of here with stimulus checks going out there, we saw it push up, consolidate sideways, and then push up for the high. So we had the first push out of the bear market lows, consolidate sideways for about 200 days. Now we had the next push. And so we could be consolidating sideways or pushing a little bit higher in the short term for Bitcoin before the next rally up. But either way, what we're doing to prepare is we're diversifying into the strongest projects that I'm going to be sharing with you towards the end of this video.
My question on what you just said, Francis. So do you think we're going to have a small crash or correction before the Bitcoin halving bull run, before the bull run really starts to take off? Because we have from now until April before the official Bitcoin halving. So we have a couple of months still. And things are looking nice on the charts so far, right? And everything is green candles pretty much for the past several days. Do you think this is some flake out, or are we going to crash before we really take off? Like one last
squeeze? If you applied my suspicious rule of how they play, as I've just said, and you look at the previous cycle, in both instances, I would say there is to be one. On both those narratives, there would be. And that was why we were a little bit jumpy at Bitcoin. And some people, will rightfully say, well, you were wrong and you took stick. We didn't like the structure where it was at one point looking like it could be a head and shoulder. We feel that there's another shake of the tree before we go. I think we're very close to wanting to go. And 2024, in my opinion, is going to be a very good year potentially for crypto, and hopefully also for precious metals, by the way. But crypto needs to be designed to steal the precious metals money, because they don't want lots of delocalized little guys with private stashes that essentially make you your own central bank at hyper valuations once they, maybe make gold $25,000 or whatever the currency will be in a year or two's time, and silver $1,500. They've done that before. They've just re-rated the value of it. And China is certainly buying like gangbusters precious metals as well, and dumping treasuries, or certainly to some degree their treasury portfolio is shrinking because of the loss of value in debt, and not buying any more at minimum. So Kissinger said, the wealth and moves with the gold and it's going east. So you do need to think about PMs as a support with your crypto.
So based on that, that's why I'm bullish on gold and silver, because, you know, China, central banks have been buying more gold than ever before. Why? Well, they're preparing for a great reset. They're preparing for a reevaluation. Now, will XRP or XLM or other cryptocurrencies be back to gold? We will see, but a Ripple exec saying that XRP and XLM are set to become the Pepsi and Cola of the central banking utility in comparison. Listen to this.
So I want your unfiltered perspective on the true nature of XRP and XLM in the evolving monetary system. Do you believe that these two technologies are going to be really the foundation of what's yet to come? You could even look at their charts. They do move in unison to some degree. There is something very interesting happening over there.
Absolutely. So we actually have a high-ranking executive from XRP in our community. And we gave him some time, and I can't name him, but in the know, very well in the know. And he was saying, in terms of how he sees it pan out, and he's been privy to conversations. He was saying that it'll almost be Coca-Cola and Pepsi, XLM and XRP. In other words, they're going to be fulfilling the same function: sugary water with caffeine. And in the same way, utility in terms of central banks. And he mentioned that one or two of the Middle Eastern players, some that were committed potentially to the one, automatically said that other of the nation states that are typically a little bit adverse would go with the other one. So it's almost going to be like you choose rum and coke with Coca-Cola, and I go, okay, I will have, cane spirits with Pepsi Cola. But we're both actually drinking alcohol pretty much similar, and with our sugary water. And so he's saying that they will be. The Jeb McCaleb connection obviously is quite obvious. Mm-hmm. And he also mentioned that he thinks this, even as an XRP person, he thinks that the generation at XLM is slightly more modern, slightly more advanced, but that they both achieve the same thing. He thinks it's got a couple of features. But by the way, for those that rush off and say, that's it, I'm dumping XRP, I'm buying XLM, let me just say, technically, the one I'm taking personally is as a result of the chart. And XRP is a tiny bit more ahead. You can see they're very, very similar mirroring. Mm-hmm. But it is a tiny bit more ahead. And how have I deduced that? Well, I'm very technical. So I look at what the money is showing, the insider money. So I just want to be in the trades that the insider money is. Most of what I'm doing with HVF method is being a forensic detective on insiders. That's my job. What are the cheats that are not playing fair doing? And if I can spot it, then I can get in organically without having any insider information per se and highlight that. So if we just go over the last two highs and I throw a fib, these are real messy charts here. So I've done a lot of work on them. Let me just take those other lines off. You can see that XRP they're both in the blood basement, as I call it. That's the red zone on this Fibbo from its last high, because they had such huge spikes. They are still hanging fairly low. So in terms of the bull run so far, they've not made anybody unbelievably rich yet.
Even the last bull run, there was pressure building up. It really didn't do much, right?
Correct. And that's the benefit actually this time. Funnily enough, that turns into a benefit on the new time, because in all the other tokens, this was Bitcoin 69 while that was Bitcoin 20. Mm-hmm. That was 20K Bitcoin, and that is 69. And this is what Bitcoin, while of course on XRP, because of the headwinds with the legal case and the other rubbish, it's actually a lower high. And that technically makes it a stronger setup for when it does break. So it's going to get a bull run and a half, because it didn't get the other half of its last bull run, if that makes sense. There's going to be inherent catch up in it where it's going to be perceived. And that's why we are super excited about it.
That's a great point to add on to that. The longer the consolidation period, the higher the pressure and the larger the spring that happens after that. Similar to what I talked about with Chainlink, where we saw Chainlink consolidate sideways for an extended period of time, and then Chainlink broke out. XRP has yet to see a major breakout other than the good news of the lawsuit. But the rest of the markets weren't really rallying that much, so it was short-lived, and liquidity flowed out of XRP into the rest of the markets. But XRP continues to consolidate sideways since May of 2022. So when it does pop, it's going to be big, and you have to be ready.
Bringing this back to crypto, this is the acceleration of the capitulation of one of the biggest asset classes. And what that means is, where does that money rush to? It's the big short, is the debt. But the thing is, you never get in an economic system something that's collapsing without something else going up disproportionately. And the new money system is the digital money. It is what will come both through central banking digital currencies, crypto as we have it already, many of the tokens that are already around, of which we will discuss XRP, certainly very well ingratiated. All the statist tokens are going to fly. Why? Because they're co-opted, they're corrupt, and they're embedded with the politicians. They've already started working with them. And you're going to have a debt collapse. So you need a new system. And the new system is, the white pony has been jogging alongside the dying donkey for everyone to cross over. And it's quite clear who benefits. And it's going to be the digital money space and cryptocurrency.
So what he's talking about for the shakeout event in terms of debt is the US government bond yields. And as we can see, what I talked about in the previous video on the yield, we're sitting at 4.426 for the 10-year yield. And so right here, we see a higher high on the candlesticks, a higher high. Simultaneously on the RSI, we're seeing a lower high, which is not a good sign because that's signaling that a reversal is coming. And so when we break this upward trending support line right here and we see yields come crashing down, even if we push higher in the short term and make another higher high, well, we most likely make another lower high on the RSI and eventually come down. So when we do come down, looking at the 10-year Treasury constant maturity minus the 2-year Treasury constant maturity for this inverted yield curve inversion going back into the positive, the last time that this happened was 2006 to 2009 for the subprime mortgage crash. The time before then was 2000 to 2003 for the dot-com bubble crash. The time before then was 1989 to 1992 for that crash. And so this crash that's coming, it's going to be big, but when will it happen? That's the real question. Will it happen 2024, 2025, 2026? It's not a matter of if, it's just when and what you can do to prepare and how that liquidity will flow from the stock market into other markets. It's going to be proportional. And so will we see the largest, my question for you is, will we see the largest decoupling from crypto compared to the stock market in history? Because with the recent rally of Bitcoin, we saw it decouple from the S&P 500, like I talked about in a previous video. And when we look right here, Goldman Sachs equity research team led by chief U.S. equity strategist David Kostin described the Magnificent Seven's outperformance as a defined feature of the equity market in 2023. So these two charts you can see on the screen include Goldman Sachs outlook, showing how the Magnificent Seven have outperformed the other 493 stocks in key metrics that typically drive stock performance. And so the entire stock market is virtually held up by only 7 companies, guys, the large tech companies. You got Apple, you got Microsoft, you got Google, you got Tesla, you got the other large companies. And so that is not good. That's not good. It's inflated, it's fake, it's not real, and it's inevitable that it's going to all come crashing down at some point.
In other words, there's going to be absolute extremities. There's going to be the serfdom, and there's going to be the absolute ruling classes. And there's a massive hollowing out of the middle. And, you know, there'll be little strands of middle left where once there was a fat, juicy middle class. And the game that goes associated with that is you don't want anybody to make money if you're trying to hollow them out. So you first inflict immense economic hardship on them so that the necessary bull market that has to happen sees minimal participation by individuals. And the corporatocracy is the primary participants and the originators of the token. So the extreme worldly wealthy, the trillionaires of this world, are not going to allow themselves just to be broken down to 10 million because the debt markets are collapsing and they hold all the debt. They have seeded the new system and they are the big holders in the new system, and they're going to inflate that as they deflate that. So it'll be directly proportional, and they will be absolutely absolutely maintaining and expanding their wealth. And we're going to have a bigger hollowing out of the middle and serfdom as the result. And that's the problem most people facing this crypto bull market will have, is they won't have enough skin in the game. They haven't been making enough cash. They've had spiking interest rates crush them. There's over $1 trillion at an average of 21% in credit card debt in the States. And it's not that different in other nation states. It's probably a bit extreme. You've got subprime cars. They've been offered all the seductions for play now, pay later. Mm-hmm. And it is truly the marshmallow test. Eat your one marshmallow today and you're done. Put it off and you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tomorrow. And this truly is the patience of the marshmallow test. And I've warned, debt is the nanothermite of your personal finances in terms of destruction. And the spike in interest rates that we think will come will actually level everybody, and they will be forced sellers of their crypto, and corporations, SMEs and high net worth and home offices for the extreme wealthy will be gobbling it up. And that's my big fear. It's bull market that the least people will have the means to participate in.
So could this final shakeout event happen and scare most people from investing in the markets? I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. It'd be another black swan event similar to the pandemic or something, and it'd be based on debt and the bond market and the interest rates, and a significant development for the cryptocurrency sector. Which projects will thrive? Well, Ripple's XRP has been identified as a preferred investment choice amongst the world's largest and leading banks, according to a new report by the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. And so XRP is the third largest altcoin, constituting a significant portion of the bank's cryptocurrency engagements. XRP accounts for about 2% of the total 9.4 billion exposure in the sector. Now that might not seem like that large, but as the sector grows, that's going to expand. And as you guys can see, this is on the Bank of International Settlements.org on their official document right here. You can see Bitcoin on the far left is the largest, obviously, over 30%. Ethereum. Then you have Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, Grayscale Ethereum Trust, CoinShares Physical Ethereum Fund, and then the only one that's larger than XRP is Polkadot. So DOT is sitting, at about, it looks like 2.1, then XRP, then Cardano, then Undisclosed, then Solana, Litecoin. XLM is on there as well too. So shows that XRP, XLM is great. Litecoin is just an older, project that has a lot of VC money, liquidity money, a lot of banks in it right now. But in terms of what's better, XLM and XRP far superior. And so that's why I'm more bullish on XRP than ever before. But I'm not going to be overly investing into crypto when I see Bitcoin pushing upwards of 49 to 50K, because that's when the greed is going to start to kick in. And that's when a correction is most likely to happen.
So this is all just about leaking the truth and conceding the truth slowly. So that is a news management issue. It's a propaganda management issue that BlackRock once defiled it and then later, has come around to it. They want you to see it's almost like
misdirection.
Yeah, it's misdirection. They're going to get there, but they want to do it in their own pace, and they want you not to think that it was one of their constructions. So it's like giving birth to your own son and disowning it for a whole bunch of years, and then finally acknowledging, when he turns 21, that he was always your boy, and that you birthed him. So it's absolutely propaganda, and I treat it as contempt. It's quite clear what's going on.
Have you developed a view on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? And what is BlackRock doing about them?
We created provider Aladdin, which is really a blockchain between us and the clients.
But that's the underlying technology.
But it's a private blockchain, okay? But most importantly, what I think about most of these cryptocurrencies, it just identifies how much money laundering there is being done in the world.
I think some of this rally is way beyond the rumor. I think the rally today is about a flight to quality.
Is it time yet for BlackRock to either trade in digital assets or digital virtual currencies, if you prefer, or to create a product for your clients?
We're not hearing any demand from any of our clients. We're not hearing clients saying that we want to use this as an asset class. No.
We're hearing from clients around the world about the need for crypto. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality.
So with that then said, and this being a fulcrum part of their strategy, that they're going into ETFs, I would not expect that they would go into an ETF on something that would later be bankrupt and cast away.
Makes sense.
Possible, but I would not expect that. So I would say Bitcoin probably does serve as digital gold, literally the soundbite that you were given, because it's not transactional, it's not fast, it is totally transparent, which is exactly what they want in a financial surveillance system. Remember, the biggest casualty is going to be privacy, your freedom and privacy. And with it, freedom of movement, you're going to get a G20 approved health pass that will confirm that you've had every shot under the sun before you can travel. It'll all be biometric. It'll all be in the grid, and you're going to have NFTs for every bicycle you buy, right down to a pair of shoes even. So I mean, they are digitizing the world because it is, and I want to highlight this, digitization of everything with tokenization is the same as the derivative markets to gold. It is a proxy. It's a proxy instrument that is designed to control the actual instrument. Yep. You truly have to perceive this for what it is. Derivatives were designed to, they're the big market. It's upside down pyramid. They're the tail that wags the dog. And in the exact same way, without actually even having to engage the underlying actual market, you can push it around. And in the same way, you can sweep by, control the world, buy up all the tokens for a whole region of houses where they've all had their paperwork all put in a token and a file, because this is what they're going to do.
Tokenize real world assets. And that's what Larry Fink said it himself. So to prepare, I made a video yesterday that I want you to watch after this one. It's talking about the top altcoins to watch that will make millionaires this bull run cycle. And I've made several videos like this. If you guys want to see them first, all you have to do is go to bullrunners.com, click the button on the page, put in your best email address. You'll be subscribed to our video newsletter. We'll send you those first. Also, you'll get access to our Telegram group for free, and you'll discover our top cryptocurrency gems, our top picks, and proven strategies to make money online without any previous experience. When we launch our financial education platform, you guys will be on the early bird list for that. And then also you're going to see our top picks inside of our Telegram group, and you'll be able to watch the videos that we come out with on a consistent basis. So if you got value out of this, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one that you're going to see pop up on the screen right now. So go ahead and click that. And as always, we're backing up our truck all the way to the bank, grabbing the bags, packing them, stacking them, leaving no bags left behind, because the spending power of the dollar is going down in value. That's a fact based on inflation. Blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, and cryptocurrencies are going up in interest. That's the truth. And together, we're all going camping on the beaches of the moon. So I will see you on the next video. I'll see you on bullrunners.com. As always, stay bullish.